Life doesn't pause when you're sick. Vaccines against respiratory illnesses can help protect you and give you more playtime with your best friend. Depending on age and health status, vaccinations for flu, COVID-19, RSV, or pneumococcal infection may be recommended. Vaccines can help keep you from having a rough time. Learn more at cveep.org/vaccines-protect. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and CVEEP, fighting infectious respiratory disease.
We are designed, reason we create this identity, we are designed to have experiences that we don't like. Because in order to know what we learn by analogy, we learn by comparison and contrast.
Yes.
And so if you don't know what you don't like, you don't know what you do like when you encounter it. So we kind of have to learn what we don't like, so we'll know what we do like when we encounter it.
Hi, welcome to Emotionally Unavailable. This is truly a show about me and my journey. When I started Emotionally Unavailable, I thought I was just learning how to be more vulnerable. But somewhere along the way, vulnerability became transformation. Emotional, spiritual, human. Every guest I've spoken with has been a mirror, a teacher, a reflection of something I was meant to see. These conversations aren't interviews, they're energy exchanges. I'm not here as an expert, I'm here as a student of life. And together, we're learning what it really means to open our hearts, to show up honestly, and to find connection in the spaces we once hid from. The journey back to ourselves starts here. Hi, guys. Happy Wednesday. Hope you are wonderful. Today's guest is Dean Graves, a renowned meditation teacher, mental health counselor, and spiritual guide with over 20 years of experience in the field. Through his expertise in mental health and deep spiritual understanding, he provides a holistic approach to healing and growth. With his compassionate and insightful guidance, he has inspired and empowered people from all walks of life to embrace mindfulness and meditation as a path to greater self-awareness and spiritual awakening. I loved Dean. I had so much fun with him. And again, I love when I meet men who have the kindest energy. And that's what I got from him. And I just felt safe and held in our conversation. I hope that comes through for you guys. I learned a lot. I love learning from these folk. And I think you're really going to like this. I'm going to make sure to include links to his website, his Insta, and his YouTube. And if I'm remembering correctly, he says his website. Let me just go look real quick because I think he said his website would lead you to his podcasts. He did say one of his podcasts is unusual, but let me look. Yeah. So there's links there. So again, just check the show notes for his links. And hope you guys are doing well. Today is a full moon in Taurus. So wherever Taurus is in your life, that's where you're going to feel this. But if you're feeling a lot of cray-cray energy, just know that's all it is. You're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. I love you so much. And I appreciate this community that we're building. And let's think. I think that's it. Be patient with ads. But if you hate ads, go join the Patreon. If you join at $10 a month, that means you get my monthly workbook for $5 off. And this month's workbook was really good, Emotional Alchemy. So go check it out. I promise you, I'm not just, saying that because I wrote it. It's really good. I think that's it. All right. I'm at my max bandwidth right now because I'm about to start my period and I'm just tired. So I love you. Thanks for being here. Here's me and Dean. Emotionally unavailable. Okay, well, nice to meet you. I want to go directly to because I don't know how to ask this question without reading this verbatim. So this was the part I wanted to start at. You said around your 50th year, you began to meditate, and through that meditation, you've been able to glean significant information and insight into the topics that you have taught to others for 25 plus years. Okay. Mm-hmm. So do you mean you started to just have an expanded consciousness through that? You started to have a paradigm shift? Will you tell me about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. My experience was very typical. It's not anything unique to me. It is something that everyone will go through. Um, Around my 50th year, I had an awakening. And an awakening is a greatly misunderstood concept. It is nothing more than that point in your life where you become aware that all the stuff that you've been doing isn't making you happier. It could be You could be very successful according by conventional standards, but the happiness hasn't gone with it. And that is what an awakening is. And what is happening when that occurs is you have inverted your awareness from outside of you to inside of you.
Yeah.
And it is necessary at that point to also have the awareness that you are responsible for your healing and your advancement along the consciousness path. And so my experiences at that time led me to meditation. And meditation, again, is another misunderstood concept. It is nothing more than learning to focus ever more deeply that awareness that you've now inverted inside of you, deeper inside of you. And you begin to fulfill your purpose for participating in creation, which is the same for everyone. There's no one that has a different purpose, and that purpose, very simply, is to explore yourself and thereby learn of yourself.
And would you say an extension to that would be experiencing as much joy as you can get in this lifetime, or do you think no?
Well, as you heal, you are creating space and within yourself, and happiness fills that void that is created by the healing that you experience. So happiness is not something that you get, it's not something that you can give, it's something that you are.
Yeah.
And so by healing, you're exposing your more of your authentic self. The more of that you are able to do, then the more happiness you experience.
Do you think also love is also something you are and not something you
Yes,
feel?
love is an inherent characteristic,
Yeah.
as is awareness. Awareness is an inherent characteristic as well. There are 5 inherent characteristics of the Creator, and we are participating in creation as the Creator at a lower range of consciousness. Our task at this range of consciousness is to explore awareness and actually become awareness in preparation for advancement to the next range of consciousness. The next range of consciousness, we will do the same thing with love. Once we become love, which we already are, it's just a matter of us surrendering our false perceptions of self that allow us for this to appear, be exposed. We will do the same thing with wisdom. And once we become wisdom, we will do the same thing with unity. Once we become unity, we will do the same thing with stillness. And thereby exploring ourselves as the one infinite creator at a range of consciousness. Yeah. And each of these is an advancing range of consciousness.
Okay. So then do you believe on the other side, afterlife, whatever, that's just a different range of consciousness?
Well, we are consciousness. Everything that we experience is consciousness. There's nothing that we can experience that is not conscious. We perceive that our incarnate lifetime is all that there is, which is totally erroneous. We exist both in the metaphysical, what we perceive to be the metaphysical world, and the physical world. The metaphysical self is a consciousness pattern. There's not the physicality that we perceive. Science calls it time, space, and space-time. We're in space-time now, and that they deem to be time-space. But that is in our enduring self. And that is shaped, that consciousness pattern is shaped by virtue of what we learn in our physical world appearances. And so what is preserved after a lifetime are what we have learned about those 5 inherent characteristics of the Creator, all the degrees and parchments on the wall and all of that stuff that we strive to learn so diligently while we're incarnate just goes into the ground with the body because it has no relevance to our enduring self.
Yeah. So when you say you were teaching a lot of stuff for a lot of years, were you already teaching this stuff, or were you just like, I know that you're a mental health professional, so were you more just in that space or also in the spiritual space?
Well, not so much. I was pretty much, as most people are, enmeshed in the authenticity of the physical world.
Yeah.
And so my standards of success and accomplishment and so forth were defined by my perception of self, which was and is still to a large degree erroneous.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Do you feel like since you've had your awakening that you are a better practitioner?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we're taught to that every person is different. The reality is that they're not different.
Agree.
The source of their difficulties is exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so consequently, once you understand that, then it's not, you understand the system. And once you understand the system, then it's not a matter of trying to diagnose someone's condition. You just, their condition is, it's just how they have interpreted it. And so the healing guidance that you can give is to emphasize their responsibility in assuming their role as a healer, self-healer, as well as contributor to others, and to help them develop that inwardly directed awareness so they can affect the healing that they desire to have.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I wonder if you've had, because I don't know kind of how you're practicing right now, but I'm really only practicing in the traditional set. I mean, it's telehealth, but I have tried to start like an outside situation. I'm in my own private practice, but I haven't gotten clients just from the entrepreneurial space, I'll say, where like they're coming in open to the spirituality. So like I'm operating in a pretty traditional model, even though I myself am not traditional, nor do I really stick to tradition. But if I have a person coming in with a belief system that's pretty different than this, I don't like shove everything really quickly, but I find that they are oftentimes resistant to some of these more, expanded range topics where I'm trying to get them to see like, no, actually you're the problem here. So let's shift a bit, because they get stuck in that old therapy speak of boundaries, and you know what I'm talking about. Have you experienced any pushback in like when you're trying to get someone to see like their victim consciousness?
I wait for their questions, and I try to go where they are and lift them from where they are. But as far as providing them with information, they don't need to know any of the things that I've learned in order to begin the healing process.
Mm-hmm.
As they begin the healing process, then oftentimes their curiosity is piqued, because the healing process is synonymous with the enlightenment path.
Yeah.
And people perceive the enlightenment to be a destination because of the successes of the Buddha and other spiritual teachers. but it's actually the path.
Yeah.
It is an incremental progression along a path that allows us to heal and to evolve. And so consequently, I don't offer, I may give hints, that may prompt some questions, but if they don't ask the question, then I don't assume the responsibility of changing their belief system, because it is their belief system that is their problem.
Right, right. Well, like I just had a client the other day come to me and was asking all of the questions, but they were in a conflict with someone. And my answer to several of the questions were like, well, I mean, I hear you. And I'm not saying that your feelings aren't valid, but what if you looked at it this way instead of this way? And they were
Right.
just so stuck in their feelings, like anger. There was several things coming out, and just very resistant to anything I was saying. And I was like, I mean, I'm not on anyone else's team here. Like I'm with you. If this is not resonating with you, that's fine. That, but I wasn't gonna say anything different either because you asked me and I told you, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I do try to instruct them on the nature of our existence from the standpoint that we are all designed to create a hierophant or an ego or an identity. It's all the same thing, just different words for the same thing. And that is our mind. That is our perception of self.
Mm-hmm.
And it is nothing more than a bundle of beliefs that we have either by osmosis or by choice included into our perception of self.
Yeah.
And every time that we have an experience that we interpret as not liking, and that's a spectrum, everything from very minor to the most severe,
Yeah.
is a message to them about what they need to become aware of in order to let go, to learn the lesson and experience less stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is that in and of itself is an educational process. But once they understand, if I can get them to the point of understanding that they're responsible because they created this belief system, they created this identity, and that is their guide for not only learning, but their guide for healing.
Yeah.
And so the more that they can become aware of what they're feeling, and when they're feeling that they don't like something, and learning to use that as a tool to direct themselves more and more to the belief that is perpetuating that experience, and let that go. And I explain it to them, it's kind of like you go out in the morning and you're headed to work and you look at your car and your car's got a flat tire. Well, you've discovered the problem. It's your awareness that has discovered the problem, and once you discover the problem, you're going to fix it. You're going to fix it yourself, or you're going to call the tow truck or whatever, but you're going to fix the problem. The same is true when you discover the belief that is attracting these experiences to you. You're going to let it go. You're not going to say, oh yeah, that causes me pain and suffering all the time, but I'll keep that one.
Yeah.
Once you really become aware of it, you're going to let it go. So the healing becomes immediate.
Yes. And now, even though there have been things that I've gotten deeper and deeper understandings of through different lessons, I still find it so amazing that the very first time you really get into, oh, that was the belief. Okay. That then the next time your autopilot isn't going to do that. Like the very next time there's that pause that goes, remember? And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like so exciting every time.
Yeah, it is. It's a new discovery every time until they get on a roll. Once they get on a roll, then they can't wait to have the next experience that they don't like, so they can use that, that tool. It's kind of like, oh, I've discovered how it works now. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
okay. Well, I'll do more of it.
And that has been my personal experience too. Because I was in the middle of like a mental health crisis, like severely, when I had my first awakening. And it really kind of started with, I was super into astrology and was doing some like identity audits around a new moon or something. And just seeing what my belief around who I needed to become was the first thing. It was really my first step into finding out that I was love, but
Right.
like that was the beginning of a really awesome path for me. And I couldn't be more grateful that I had all of those horrible experiences because,
Yeah.
man, it's so profound when you get through it.
Well, understand that we are designed, reason we create this identity, we are designed to have experiences that we don't like.
Yeah.
Because in order to know what we learn by analogy, we learn by comparison and contrast. And
Yes.
so if you don't know what you don't like, you don't know what you do like when you encounter it. So we kind of have to learn what
That's
we don't
true.
like so
Yeah.
we'll know what we do like when we encounter it.
Yeah. I haven't really thought about that except for that, like, sometimes I'll be going through something and just the absence of that thing when it's over is enough. Like, yay, I'm just glad that that part's over. And
Yeah,
then I feel so grateful for the times without that part. Like
right.
I can't I'm so serious. Like that sounds so silly,
The
but I'm
parts where
like
you can
just so
breathe.
glad it's over. Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like my
But
life is not
that's
any
just how we
different in the
learn.
after than it was in the before that experience, and then in the after just not having the experience anymore. I'm like, life is so beautiful, life is just so great.
Yeah, well, when you take your hand off the hot stove, it feels a whole lot better.
So true. Yes. Yes, I love that. I've not heard of that. Yes, that's so good. Cause man, life can be really hard sometimes. And then when you get to the other side of a hard, I mean, I'm in a lull right now, and I'm like every day I'm really grateful for the lull where I'm just like experiencing peace and joy in all the moments because I'm like because I had a rough time last year with one of my kids, and the stress of that was just a little too much for me. And just not having that type of stuff to worry about anymore, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I no longer stress about money the way I was pre those experiences. Cause now I've
Hmm.
changed my belief around money too. I've been working on that. But like, I feel like, okay, I can trust myself. That was a lesson that I just learned myself was like, cause that's the belief I've been working on is about my fear of trust. And I realized it's not my fear of trusting others. It's my fear of trusting myself that like,
Always.
that I really am enough to face anything that comes my way, you know?
Yeah, and it's through that building of self trust and again awareness is what does that. But the more that we can learn to be introspective and honest with ourselves, then the more intimacy we can have with ourselves. And we seek intimacy. We say we want love. Well, we do, but we really want intimacy because we erroneously perceive that we can be intimate with another person. But actually, we can only be intimate with ourselves.
Yeah.
And that self intimacy requires absolute honesty. But when you do that, then you disable all of the fears and all those things that restrict us from enjoying life and doing the things that we want and need to do.
Yeah. I I kind of believe I was just explaining this to someone else and I don't know if I can say this succinctly. Um I got to this place when I first felt love, like what love really was cuz I was working so hard on cultivating it for myself. I That was a huge epiphany to where I was like, "Oh, this is the only love. That love that like you find within." And then I call now in love what we've always called is like we're in love with each other, which is just chemicals. But like now I'm like, no, in love is when I'm in my love and you're in your love because we're two people who have, worked on ourselves or whatever, and we can share our energy together. What do you think about that?
Exactly so. Yeah,
Okay.
but what when we feel love at this range of consciousness, when we feel love, it is not because we've gotten anything from anybody or
Mhm.
given anything to anybody other than permission to temporarily surrender this false perception of self and allow our authentic self to emerge.
Mhm.
So we're not getting anything, we just are. Love is not a commodity, it's not an emotion, it is a condition of being.
Yeah.
And so when we feel that, and we feel that more frequently as we heal, because we're not putting up those defenses. And I used to do couples counseling, and every time that a couple has a fight or has difficulties because one or both of them have slipped into that identity mode and are refusing to get out of that and into their authentic self.
Yeah.
And it was the authentic self that brought them together in the first place. And so if they're not willing to get out of that identity, then that's called divorce.
It sure is. It sure is.
So it's time because they've quit. They've stopped teaching each other. There's no reciprocity of teaching.
That is, yeah, I've never looked at it that way, but yeah. And I think that's okay if that's what you guys feel like you got to do.
We're here to learn.
Yeah.
And the reason that we choose a spouse is because we feel that comfort with them, that we're willing to surrender that identity, but we become each other's teacher.
Yeah.
And we teach each other until one or the other decides, no, I'm through learning from you, and retreats into that identity, and then it's time to find somebody else that's a better teacher.
Could you give an example of what you see when someone has started going back into that identity mode so that listeners might hear that and go, oh, I'm doing that?
Well, the identity is what we form this identity, and we are all motivated for exactly the same reason. We're all motivated to get more of what we like. And no one is motivated to get more of what they don't like. And so these beliefs that we incorporate into this identity define our measures of success. And we are actually trying to trick the world into giving us more of what we like by presenting this identity. It's a false perception of self. When we feel that love with another person, we feel comfortable enough with them that we don't need to promote that identity. And so our authentic self emerges. And a good example is, say in the traditional family concept, the female is taking care of the house and the kids and the family and cooking dinner, the Ozzie and Harriet kind of image. And the husband / father comes in, and he brings with him that I'm conquering the world attitude that he's been using all day to be successful in business. He brings that into the house, and the female usually will be patient for a few minutes and give him a chance to get out of that mode. But if he doesn't, then they're going to have a fight, and she essentially is saying, you can take that identity and put it back on the front porch and then bring your authentic self back in here and we'll be fine. Kids are the same way. The kids will jump all over you, and then they see you're still in that identity mode, and then they don't want anything to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is every kid in the world, they can detect that, and it's a feeling. They don't want that identity. They want dad.
Yeah.
Or mom, whichever the case may be. They don't want that false identity because they don't feel that comfort with them. They don't feel the love. And so, the example is unique to the individual, depending what they do in the world. Sure, they may have been working all day and all that sort of stuff, but you got to leave that identity on the front doorstep and not bring it into the house.
Yeah. I love that. I wonder too, how many people are just living in that minute after minute, just not even realizing that they are switching identities from role to role also.
Well, very few people are self-aware. And I would say, and this is 98% of all statistics are made up on the spot, and I'll say probably 90% of the world is probably unaware.
God, what's so embarrassing is I thought I was so aware.
Well, it's a process, and there's not a bottom to it. So if you think you're aware now, just wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. Gosh, it's weird how you can just look like there's so much to learn about yourself. Every day there's something new. And at first I was learning at such a rapid pace that like it was kind of scary. Like I thought I was in spiritual psychosis because it was so much. Because once you see, you can't unsee, and it changes everything about you. So I mean, this was
Right.
happening multiple times a day, every
Yeah.
day. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have I have schizophrenia in my family. So I really was like so worried that I'd become schizophrenic or something. Like now I get what was happening, but man, at the time it
it,
was just
it
insane.
it is scary until you get the information to fill that information void. Yeah, it is. But what really gets fun is when you get to the point where you're becoming aware of awareness itself,
Yeah.
and that's when you enter the mindfulness stage of your healing, and you're able to take that mindfulness guru cave perspective. And I tell my meditation students we exist both in the village and the guru's cave. When you meditate, you allow yourself to go to the guru's cave. And in the guru's cave, there are no problems. All the problems exist in the village. So if you don't meditate, then you don't allow yourself that break, that comparative experience of not being in the problems of the village. But being mindful means that you've learned to take that guru cave perspective back with you when you go back into the village. So the same problems are there, but your perspective of them is entirely different, and they don't affect you personally.
Yeah. Here's where I get stuck here, though, if I'm just being 1,000% honest. I start to feel as if I've done a little bit of bypassing whenever I do that. Because I will feel that so strongly and then notice, but actually underneath, I'm a little tense or whatever because there was something I didn't deal with. I'm not good at fixing the one perspective for the other to win out. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I feel like a
Yeah,
lot of
you
times I'm
are.
like, oh
Yeah.
no, it's more of me dismissing what's in front of me and jumping to this, oh, but I have perspective and not necessarily embodying that maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's still it means that there's still a belief that you haven't fully let go of, and
Okay.
those are held in place by what I call emotional baggage. And emotional baggage is nothing more than the life lessons that we have didn't learn at the time that we had the experience. We get to keep it in the form of emotion.
Okay.
People that experience depression, the one common characteristic of everybody in the world that experiences depression is it feels heavy. They feel heavy when they're feeling depressed.
Yeah.
Well, what could possibly feel heavy? Well, it's the emotional baggage that they are still carrying that they have to let go of. And that is a parallel step to letting go of the beliefs. Actually, when you heal the emotional baggage, that significantly liberates more of your energy that allows you to have, and energy fuels our awareness. So we have more awareness to become more aware of the beliefs that we need to let go. And it's like pushing a car from a dead stop. It's tough to get it going because you have no momentum. But once you get momentum, it gets easier and easier and easier. So
Yeah.
it's a parallel step. You have to heal the emotional baggage, and it does all go away. It absolutely, completely goes away. And when you do that, you feel so much unbelievably lighter and able to deal with the rest of the healing much more expeditiously.
Yeah, I can definitely see the truth in that, where the places where I really have let go of beliefs, how I can handle those situations just totally differently because it's not an attack on me personally. I know that intimately now. Like
Yeah.
that these things are just happening because it is what it is. This person is who they are. It has nothing to do with me. There are some things though certainly where I can recognize that I have a belief somewhere. Haven't had the awareness yet, but especially with my husband, I haven't had the complete paradigm shift yet. I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
going to come that step the other day of learning like it's not him I'm afraid to trust, it's me. And we've been married for a long time, but like, I'm rude to him a lot. He's who I take everything out on, and I'm like wanting to just stop doing that, so I can't rely on self-control and discipline because I don't have it when it comes to him. Literally my autopilot is just to be snarky with him most of the time. So
Well,
I've been trying to like figure out why, and I recognize the protective layers I have between me and him. But like I haven't had that complete like unraveled feeling, whenever you awaken to a new thing.
right,
But we're
right.
on the path.
Yeah, it's a process. And just, you're learning patience with yourself as
Yeah.
well as others. And so that's why it's a process. Because I explain this emotional baggage to people. It's like before you were born, they told you that your mission in life was to run down to the end of the street. It's really simple. We're going to give you a new pair of running shoes and a running outfit. You're going to look really cute, and all you have to do is run down to the end of the street, and you'll have a successful life. And then you're born, and you start to run, and somebody comes up and gives you a 300-pound ball of concrete. And it said, your mission is the same, but you got to carry this ball of concrete with you. And you're thinking, all the energy that I thought I was going to have to run is now diverted to carrying this ball of concrete. So in order to accomplish your mission, you got to get rid of this ball of concrete. And it is permissible to put it all down at once, but in this ball of concrete are all the life lessons that you didn't learn. And so it's probable you're going to have to take it out a chunk at a time. But every chunk that comes out of that ball of concrete, you feel lighter. And that's the happiness filling that void that you created with the healing until it's gone. And then you don't have that weight that weighs you down from simply running down to the end of the street.
Yeah. And boy, I'll tell you, finding that unconditional positive regard for yourself just makes that so much easier. Because I can feel that I still have plenty of blind spots, but I I'm okay with letting them unravel naturally or as they will. Like I'm not pressuring myself or shaming myself or applying morality or meaning to things that I shouldn't. Like I'm mostly just celebrating every positive step I take because it will come whenever it comes. And I am trying to stay curious and open, but there for a minute it was like, oh, I wanna reach enlightened. You know what I mean? Like, just like it
Let's
was
get
a
this over with.
destination. Yes, kinda, yeah, like, I'm
Yeah,
kinda tired of feeling pain, and so I would like to not feel pain anymore, is where I
right.
was at.
Yeah. Well, it is most definitely a process, and that's fine. But you have to understand also that we are magnetic, and we attract our experiences, and we attract the experiences that we're ready to heal.
Yeah,
And when we have a repetition of experiences, it is only because we're not paying attention. And they'll keep coming back, and each time they'll come back a little bit stronger than the one before. And I'm sure you have people, that have the story. I keep meeting the same person over and over and over. It's a different person, but it's the same person.
yeah,
And they bring me pain and suffering. Well, they're not bringing you pain and suffering. They're just highlighting to you because you've attracted them about something about you that you need to become aware of and let go of and heal.
yeah,
And the same was true not only of people, but just experiences in general, because those are the repetitive experiences that you're not learning that are adding to this ball of concrete. As soon as you learn that, then you can take that chunk out of your ball of concrete and be lighter and
yeah,
not have it again, not have it come back to you again.
yeah. I'll tell you what's been really slow but eye-opening is my beliefs around parenting, especially parenting adult children, but parenting in general. Where my responsibility begins and ends to these little humans. I mean, they're not really that little anymore, but um really unraveling some beliefs there and just trying to hold I don't know how to word this. Understanding that it is okay to teach them what I'm learning, and that I don't have to rescue them from their lessons. And, because that's the thing I used to do to avoid pain, was to jump right in and fix their stuff
Oh, I
really
was a
badly.
helicopter pilot. I was a helicopter pilot with them too. It just, I was hovering, and when I learned that, and I have two kids, and they couldn't be more different.
Yep.
And they came from the same family, the same parentage, and anybody that's had more than one kid knows that. And they are there to learn different lessons.
Mm-hmm.
They've incarnated with you to learn lessons, and it is highly probable that you have incarnated with them numerous times in the past in different roles. So you're just providing each other with lessons that we are tasked with learning. It's the curriculum that we have to fulfill for this range of consciousness. And so allowing them to have those experiences that they need, and being the resource for them to find a plateau or a comfort level, a safe level in between their experiences, is about all that you can do, all you
Yeah.
need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. I'm not great at it. I'm not going to lie to you. But like the other day, my middle kid lost his wallet at 7. He's so ADHD. Okay. Lost his wallet. He believes at 7-Eleven. But the employees checked the cameras, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, well, we need to check your bank. And he said, oh, that my bank card wasn't in the wallet. And I was like, what was? Just your license? And he said, well, that, and I had $23. Okay. It hurt my heart because he's a poor 18-year-old who just moved out on his own a few months ago. Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
crying about the fact that he lost the $23. And I want so badly to give him that so that he has
Yeah.
it. But I just sat with the fact that, you can cry about this, but you can't fix it, because he needs to be more responsible with his wallet. And he wouldn't listen to me about calling the place that he was prior to 7-Eleven about his wallet, because he's so sure he had it with him when he walked in the store. And I'm like, okay, well, lesson learned, because he still has never called that place to see if his wallet is there. It frustrates the hell out of me. But I was like, okay, cry. It's okay for this to hurt you. You're his mother. Like, cry if that's, but you are not going to fix this. And I did nothing. I was just like, they took your $23. He's kind of giggling about it. Like, he's not crying about this,
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just listened to this book not too long ago, Love Money, Money Loves Me Too, something like that. And I've been learning about the energy of money, and also the way we value things. And that's the thing, is that I have valued things at a much higher rate when it comes to my children than even they do. And so, I'm starting to learn, well, if they valued that the way they're acting, then they would contribute to that. And so I'm learning not to rescue with stuff like that. But I'm serious. I was crying over $23. Crying. And mostly because I wanted to fix it, but I wasn't letting myself. And so I'm getting better at this.
Right. Yeah. And that part of that is breaking down that parenting role, and realizing the transition that they are in from no responsibility to being self-responsible.
Yeah, and I do want to be a good,
that's
soft
difficult
place
for the parents.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Well, because mostly I would never want their lack of understanding or consciousness to make them feel like I'm not loving or supportive. I don't think any of them feel that way. But that's where I'm like, no, because I am here. I'm here anytime. Come be here. And there would be plenty of times where if they asked to borrow money or something like that, I would do that. But this kid's got to get his shit together. You know what I mean? He's 18, but he refuses medicine now. He's like, oh, I don't like the way ADHD medicine makes me feel, all that. So I'm like, the more I rescue, the slower that process is going to go. Because he had to be late to work a few times before he got hell-bent on setting the right alarm for him, things like that. So he's getting there, and I have faith that he will. But, oh, my God, I just want to fix everything for them. And it's not because I don't want them to feel pain. I don't. But it's because I don't like the way I feel when they're experiencing it. Period.
Yeah. Well, again, you're as we all do, holding on to those beliefs that you have in your identity, and we want to project those onto them.
Yep.
Yeah, and we do that because they are peer supports for our identity. They hold our identity in place.
That's true.
And vice versa.
Yeah. So true. Yeah, I want to look more into, like, this is besides my husband, I really am trying to uncover my beliefs around these children because, well, if I'm being honest, because I don't like the way it feels, Dean. I don't want to cry over $23.
I understand.
I don't want to.
That's the hard part of breaking that helicopter parent mentality.
Yes. I was really proud of myself, though, for just crying about it. And I did go to my husband later, and I was like, I'm so sad about the $23. And he's like, I know. But that was it. I was proud of myself because I never even, I never even considered it. I was like, I want to, but no.
Well, that's good.
Thank you. I'm like, validate me, please. It's hard. This human shit's hard, Dean. It's hard.
It is. But again, that was something that you didn't like.
Yeah.
It triggered within you something that you need to become aware of and heal.
Yeah.
So it was an opportunity.
It really was. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. I mean, if he had to lose his little $23 and not listen to me about calling the other store, at least I learned something from it. I started to unravel this when I realized that part of my confirmation bias was believing that they would not pick up after themselves. This was a couple years ago, and I recognized I haven't actually asked them to. Why? And it was in a time where I was really unraveling all of my shame. And I believed that I was supposed to be the superhero who could do anything that the household needed. I mean, I recognize that's illogical, but that was a belief I had held on to for a long time. And so to confirm my little bias, I just didn't ask them to pick up, but then I could sit and be mad at them all the time and resentful all the time that nobody helps me around the house, all to prevent me from asking, because I didn't want to have to ask, because I still struggle with asking for help. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, in general, not like that, but like in general, I don't like to ask people for help. But I mean, yeah, unraveling a little bit at a time with my beliefs around these children. It's been very eye-opening for sure.
Well, and are you familiar with Byron Katie's work?
It's been brought up on the show before, but not really.
I highly recommend it. It's a very simple process that everybody can do, and it expedites your healing of these beliefs. And it's very simple. She has you become aware of the stress that you're experiencing with this situation. And one of the original experiences that she had when she was developing this little process was over her children and them not cleaning their room.
Okay.
And you ask yourself 3-4 simple little questions. And first of all, you write down the belief that you have. And the belief, for example, is that my one child should clean their room. Okay, then you ask yourself, is that true? And you'll probably say, yes, that's true. And then you say, is that absolutely true? You know that to be absolutely true. And you probably say yes again. It doesn't matter whether you say yes or no. And then ask yourself, how do you feel when you think that thought, when you hold that belief? Well, invariably, you're going to say it doesn't feel good. And then ask yourself the next question, is there any reason to keep that belief that does not cause you stress? And then the third question is, how would you feel if you didn't have that belief? Which again is focusing awareness inside of you. And then she has you turn that belief around.
I love that.
And when you turn it around, then that's that paradigm shift, that lets you surrender that belief.
Yes, because
and you can do that all day long. Every time that you experience something that doesn't feel good, you don't need anybody to guide you to that.
Right.
You can just do it yourself.
Where where should I start with her resources? A book, a podcast?
She has several books. She has a website. She
Okay.
has lots of YouTube videos that you can watch her do this on stage,
Okay.
and it's dramatically effective. When I start working with someone, that's one of the first things that I try to teach them to do is to
Yeah.
begin, because it really expedites their awareness and their healing.
Yeah, I love
And it's
that.
so simple. It is so simple. You just and you can learn those 3 or 4 questions in 5 minutes. So you've learned the process.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's great. Thank you for sharing that because I
Certainly.
definitely I I can see where I've done that on some things, but it took a lot longer to get there because I wasn't like, knowing what to ask myself.
Yeah, just it's 3 simple little questions. How do you feel? Is there any reason to keep it that doesn't cause you stress? And who would you be if you didn't? That, which is the same thing as how would you feel if you
Yeah.
didn't do that? But who would you be if you didn't have that belief?
I love that. Well, Dean, I've had such a good time with you today. Is there any like final words, actionable takeaway, anything that you want to leave our listeners with? And then if you'll tell us where we can find you.
Well, I have a website that has all my contact information, and I've written 4 books on consciousness. I do 2 podcasts. I maintain 2 podcasts on
Okay.
consciousness. My website is the initial Dean, Dean, Graves, all one word, .org. And
Do you have links to your
my,
podcast on your website?
yeah,
Okay, perfect.
yeah, it has the links on my podcast, and the books and everything is there.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure I include that website link in the show notes too.
Okay.
I'm excited to listen to your podcast.
Oh, well, good.
I'm trying to
Okay.
expand my consciousness every day.
Well, hopefully they will.
Yeah,
They're
I'll check it out for sure.
okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Seriously, I've had such a good time with you today. I just really appreciate your openness and ability to explain things and, listening to me. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I thank you very much for having me as part of your show. It's been delightful for me as well.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm going to push stop, but hang out for 1 second while it finishes uploading.
Okay.
Emotionally unavailable. Hey, make sure you've given the show a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to if you haven't already. And check out my website, empoweredwithmelisahepner.org, or my link tree on Instagram at melissa.hepner to check out my latest offers or workshops. All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.